Hello, my name is Isaac Price, and I'm in crisis leadership. And before I get started about kind of a plan that integrates skills for crisis management into the business or workplace, I thought the biblical worldview could be addressed first. And a verse that I thought would really kind of highlight crisis management and some skills that everybody needs to have is servant leadership. And a verse that kind of goes over this is Philippians 2, verses 3 and 4. And it says, "Do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit. Rather, in humility, value others above yourselves, not looking to your own interest, but each of you to the interest of the others." And I kind of think this is crucial for crisis management, as leaders need to consider those that are around them and need to see what they need specifically, and it can help them to build their skills. There's all kinds of crisis situations, and usually these are unpredictable and changing all the time. And leaders just need to be there to help those around them and better prepare them for crisis in the future and how to adapt and build off of these problems so that they don't happen again in the future. So kind of a plan that integrates skills for crisis management into a business or workplace. For that, kind of the skills, like the first skill, like for any business or the workplace, would be just having constant communication. This is crucial because when individuals are able to communicate and feel comfortable communicating, it builds relationships and trust. And that's huge because there's so much uncertainty with crises, and so much unpredictability that all those involved need to be able to feel comfortable speaking, hey, how can we solve this problem? How can we move on? And how can we learn from it? And kind of a plan that kind of gets that going would just be to have these conversations all the time, and leaders putting their employees in positions that that they can communicate what they see wrong and kind of build off of that. And then the next thing would be to have problem solvers, and a plan that would kind of integrate that into the workplace would just be having people constantly working on things that are constantly thinking about unpredictable situations and helping those people to kind of talk through and be ever-changing and ready for any unpredictability that might be in the future. And just having these group meetings and having people work out problems and seeing what they can come up with in just a short amount of time, and even just like talking through what they do step by step and stuff like that. And kind of a scenario that I kind of thought of was the BP oil scenario, or the BP oil spill. And it was a technical crisis. It was an explosion that the whole Gulf kind of felt the impact of that big spill. And kind of the plan that could have stopped all of this was just if they used constant communication, if they would have just communicated through the situation, maybe the explosion doesn't happen. Maybe they can, they're honest about what happened. They use integrity, and people feel comfortable to say, hey, this isn't right. And they kind of contain the situation from, kind of what we see today. And we're still seeing impacts from that. And like some of these skills, some of the skills that they could have used was just to use that communication to build that trust, to have those relationships, and just to keep everybody on the same page, and keep even humility and integrity, not to think that they're above anyone else, and that to understand the mistake that they made. And kind of like that leads into my last worldview, and that's is actually integrity. And a verse that I used for that was Proverbs 10:9, and it says, "Whoever walks in integrity walks securely, but whoever takes crooked paths must be found out." And I kind of think that's huge, because like the last part of a plan for like that integrates skills for crisis management includes integrity, because you might be right, and you might think that you're doing the right thing, but at the end of the day, you need to be doing right by others and serving those around you. And if the company has a vision and everybody's on the same path and they understand what is right, then we can take a step in the right direction to stop these crises and move on and learn from it. And that's it.